Hey everyone, it's Rose from the Jenny Wren. I'm going to be taking you along today as I get ready for a tea party. I haven't done one of these for a long time, but I had someone request it for her and her friends for a birthday party. And so we've been planning this a long time and it's been a really rainy week. So I am just resigning myself to the fact that it's probably going to be inside and I set up in here. I would love to set it up in my tea room, but it's too big of a group and too small of a space. So I've just been setting up around my dining room table. If it happens to be sunny on the day that they come, I may still change my mind. But right now I needed to figure out what I was going to do. So I'm going to be making recipes and to show you some more of the details of the tea party. Whenever I have company, one of my favorite things to do is to go out and look for fresh flowers around the property. Right now, hydrangeas are in season, and I absolutely love to bring those in and set those on the table. This is my tea room, and I'm going to be serving dessert out of this room. One of my favorite things about preparing for a party is setting the table. On this table, I use special touches of antique plates, goldware that Jason gave me for my birthday, and teacups from my mom. Follow me much, you know that I love to bake. I love to be in the kitchen and I love sweet treats most of all. My daughter asked me the other night, what's my favorite food to cook for supper? And I just had to think about that because not really anything. Like there's just things that you have to make because they're good for your family and you get into routines, and after 27 years of being in the kitchen, making meals week after week, I mean, I don't know if there's anything I love to make. I like to grill, and mostly because Jason's the one who grills the meat. But I love to bake. I absolutely enjoy so much putting together something that people are like, I cannot stop eating this. I grew up on lemon bars. I love them so much, and I also grew up on rhubarb. And so my mom would make rhubarb custard, or she would make these yummy buttery crust rhubarb bars. So of course I taught my children to love them too. So I'm going to be making both of these recipes tomorrow for my tea party, and you can look below and I will leave the recipes for you. Both of these bars are similar in the fact that they have a crust with butter, my favorite, and we're going to put butter, flour, and sugar together, mix it together, and press it into the bottom of a 9x13 pan, and then we'll bake it, and that will create our yummy crust. I melted my butter for about 30 seconds in the microwave, and then I just added my flour and my sugar. I feel like I need a little more flour. It's not quite crumbly enough, so I'm just gonna add a little more and see if I can kind of get that crumbly. And then I'm gonna put this in the bottom of my sheet pan, my 9x13, and I'm gonna bake that for 15 minutes at 350. Just like the lemon bars, I'm going to start with 2 sticks of butter for the rhubarb bars. Then I'm gonna have 2 cups of flour and 3/4 cup of powdered sugar. Just gonna mix those all together. I'm gonna press that out in the pan, and sometimes I use some flour to help just push that down because the butter wants to stick to my fingers, but I'm going to also bake that for 15 minutes as well, and then I will put the custard rhubarb filling on top of that. For the lemon filling, I'm going to go ahead and beat 4 eggs really well in my mixer. This is a Bosch mixer, and I've had it since I was married. So that's a long time of mixing things up in my kitchen, and I have used this thing hard, weekly, almost daily, a lot of times. I'm gonna whip up 4 eggs in here, and then I'm going to add some sugar, lemon juice, flour, and baking powder, some salt, and throw that on top of the bars, the bars that I've cooked for 15 minutes, and then I will bake that. I've got my egg eggs are beaten, I'm going to add a cup of sugar, a cup and a half of sugar. Do that. We're going to add a 1/3 cup of flour, a 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Just like that. I'm going to beat that up, add some lemon juice, 6 tablespoons of lemon juice to that, just like this. I'm just going to squeeze this right into my, these are teaspoons, squeeze it right into my tablespoon. Try not to get those seeds in there. And then I'm going to add that. And then to that, I will put on top of the cool crust, and we're going to bake this for 18 more minutes. When it's done, we can just cool it and top it with powdered sugar. So simple and so delicious. I'm getting all the seeds out now. For the rhubarb bars, I'm going to start the same way. I'm going to start with my eggs, mix it up, and then I'm going to add my sugar, flour, and salt. And to that mixture, I will fold in my rhubarb. So just starting with 5 eggs, I'm going to mix those up in my mixer. And I'm just going to dump the rest of the ingredients, a 1/2 cup of flour. This calls for 2 cups of sugar. There's lots of sugar in this one, and a 1/2 teaspoon salt. That's it. A quick little twist here. Just mix it in there. And then as soon as the bars are cooled from the oven, I'm going to go ahead and put this custard on top of it, and then I will bake it again, and we'll bake it for 35 minutes this time. I'm going to make something I have never made before, and that is cream puffs. And the recipe says to start with 1 cup of water and 1 stick of margarine. I rarely use margarine except if the recipe calls for it, and sometimes it's better if you do use margarine instead of butter, but of course I never want to taste the margarine. I always want to taste the pure butter. So I'm going to bring this to a boil, and then I'm going to add some flour and salt, stir that in, and then we're going to mix eggs in one at a time. We'll see, crossing my fingers that this is turning out.
After baking the cream puffs for a half hour, they turned out nice and golden brown. Not too bad for my first try. While I wish the sun would shine on us and we could eat out here in the backyard, we're going to make the best of the situation and enjoy our time inside. If you're new here, I would love it if you'd subscribe to my channel. I just started a new home and living blog along with this channel. You can also find me on Instagram at Jenny Wren Design. Come back next week for more details and recipes that I served at the party.